All right, the sun is shining, the temperatures are rising, albeit perhaps temporarily here in the Boston area. My coffee is hot, so as I put out on Twitter just a few minutes ago, basically life ain't that bad, despite the fact that the Bruins do lose again this time, albeit in a shootout razor to the New York Islanders. Stop me if you've heard this before. Bruins don't win on the island. As the Islanders are a good team, a real good team. Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor coming at you. So Bruins, I thought, played a real competitive game. I didn't think it was a pretty game. Actually, I thought late first, a lot of the second, very good, entertaining. I'm sure Islanders fans thought the third was entertaining because they played much better in the third than the Bruins did. And then the overtime was fun, right? It was fun. Then we get to the skills session. How are you today on this lovely, I'll call it early spring morning?
I'm very excited to get out and enjoy the 60-degree weather in March. I know we're in for more weather at some point here. We always are here in New England, but this is a good day. This is a really good day. We're getting closer to mugs as I see you pull that up, and we're getting closer to spring weather.
Yeah. And are we getting closer? Thank you for the segue to
Yes,
the Bruins
that's what we do.
being better again, or not. See, I'll ask you first. Are we getting closer? I mean, after what you saw against the Islanders,
I thought they played a really good game last night. They can't score.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Are we getting closer to seeing that or not?
But I thought they did the right things last night. They have to stay with it. They have to stay disciplined, and they have to find a way to get a little confidence from last night's game in the fact that Studnicka had a great chance. We've got Marchand hitting crossbars. We've got Krejci with that opportunity. I mean, that's going to go in at some point. That just will. They're putting themselves. Their power play was very good the two times. Listen, the Islanders don't give many opportunities. They're so disciplined. They don't take penalties. You're not going to get a lot of opportunities, but the ones they did, the Bruins did a good job. They scored on the one. So I feel more positive about the offense after last night's game than I had the previous couple games.
All right. Left shot D. Now listen, it's a tough question because 3 of your top 6 D are out right now. But left shot D or top 6, I'll tell them throw in top 8 forward to
top 8 forward.
That's what you need more now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no question.
But think about how quickly that's changed.
I know.
You know? I mean, how quickly that has gone from what we needed 10 days ago to what we're seeing right now.
I know. It's hard to imagine this is where we're at but the back end's done so well. And I think that I'll look at that half glass full is that we're not worried as much about the defense. There's going to be times where it's an issue, but with guys coming back sooner than later, we're already a few weeks away, that we have to get a forward. It's just not enough. We haven't seen enough from Craig Smith, haven't seen enough from Jake DeBrusk, haven't seen enough from those guys up front to warrant enough confidence to just let them run with it.
Well, the
good news is it's easier to get a forward than a defenseman, I think. In this year in the NHL, I think it will be easier. You'll find maybe a better fit.
So is it time? This is where I wanted to go right away, but let's just get to it because we already started discussing it. Is it time to pull the trigger? We kind of discussed that the other day, but I mean, are we at that? Have we seen enough that it's time for, management to pull the trigger to make a deal now instead of, waiting to get out of it? Because this is the way that this season works since there's so many games so frequently, right? Bruins could go win their next 2 games against the Rangers, and all of a sudden people kind of have that short-term memory, and they're like, we're okay, we're better, we're this. You could then go through a 4 or 5 game lull again super quick because boom. I mean, this is split personality, and games are coming at you so quickly.
And they're all 4-point games.
And they're all 4 points. See, I think that this is you're talking about a team that is still loaded with great veterans, starting with the ultimate in Bergeron, starting with a guy in Brad Marchand who's still, I mean, he's a vet. He's not old, but he's playing beautifully, right? But how many more tries do you have at it with Brad and the surrounding cast? And if you believe in Krejci, then you have to still, and I do, you still got to get somebody else for him. But how many more kicks do you have at it with him with this core? I mean, I don't think this is a trade deadline team. You and I talked about it recently. The trade deadline has to be moved up in the sense of mentally, right? But I even think we're in the next 2 weeks, I think, for this team. I think if you're really going to go at it, go for it with this team. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree. If they're going to go, the phone call's ringing today. They're starting to call around, Don and everyone in the organization. They're kicking tires at this point to see what frees up, because as we know as well, you need two to tango, and there's still a lot of teams. Right. Is Detroit willing to just give someone up right now without listening to 4, 5, 6 different offers? And that'll be what's interesting. But I certainly think they're looking, and they have to be planning and trying to figure out who's available, who's the right mix, and get somebody in, because I think it shakes things up too. It does. Right. It shakes things up, and they're trying to shake things up. DeBrusk, healthy scratch. This is another way to shake things up, is bring another body in and change the culture. Not culture, but change the vibe.
Change the vibe a bit, and get the offense going. And listen, I am not one of those people. I never have been. I'm measured in my thoughts usually. I'd like to think I try to take both sides. Sometimes people don't like it, don't give a crap. What I'm saying is this: I don't think it's simple to go out and make a trade. I'm not being one of those guys and sitting there and saying, "Oh, listen." I mean, of course they're talking everything, but sometimes you have to be willing to say, "All right, maybe we're giving up a teeny bit more." But to your point, it brings in something, and that vibe factor is greater, I think, right now for this team than almost anything else. We know what's going on with this team. We can see that they're having a hard time getting that secondary scoring. So they see it. They see it more clearly than we do. And the players, they understand it. And I don't think anybody is too comfortable. I don't. However, there's nothing wrong with cage rattling right now. I liked Krejci's game.
I did too.
Last night. I liked it. It was involved. You can tell, David's got one of those heartbeats that is just so low in pressure situations, but you knew that his frustration. He was there when he didn't score the goal, when Varlamov made the street hockey, what I mean, save. Yeah,
the Olay.
When he dove and the paddle save. You could tell by his frustration right there. But I thought he was involved. I said on the show last night, the fact that he's moving his feet so much, the puck kept coming to him. He was touching pucks. He's got to touch pucks.
When he's high stepping through the neutral zone, when he's got his crossovers going, he's got the big long stride going. That's what I saw last night. That stood out to me more than anything in the entire game, to be perfect. In overtime especially, just flying through the neutral zone, had a ton of speed, and we talk about him slowing the game down at times. I thought last night he was really pushing the pace and really trying to get out in front of it, and I think that bodes well for whoever's on that second line, him and Nick Ritchie. I like Nick Ritchie's game again. He's running guys over. He's
6 hits.
He's right where he needs to be. There's no question about that. He's a bright spot. But Krejci, I thought last night was one of the games I've noticed him the most over the season.
Yeah, got to keep it up. Obvious statement. They got to. I mean, they're such a better team. It's evident that the Bruins go as Krejci goes. Has been for years. Going to be for now. Now, some people who might say, "Wait, what the hell do you mean?" I mean, look at that top line. Isn't that how? The top line. Is
the top line.
Top line. By the way, 16 shots on goal by that top line out of 33. The good news is the top line was going. Power play was going. The bad news is half of the team shots that made it to the net came from that line. I'd like to see it be, I'll take a third. I'll take a teeny bit more third. I don't want to see 50% of the shots on net from 3 guys when it's all said and done.
It's too top heavy. It's too top heavy, correct.
Right. It's like my old mullet days, too top heavy and everything. What do we get? Listen, Charlie Coyle again. It was. I thought. Look, they worked hard. It was nice, but that Coyle line is another thing. I mean, that to me is where That to me is where the shakeup could happen. What I mean by that, I'm not saying Charlie Coyle himself. I'm talking about that line right there. Now 11, Frederick played pretty well again. 12, Smith, he's in on pucks and everything. Coyle, hard, but I mean, I think the effort is there, but we're not in an effort league. We're in a what you call league, a get it done league.
Yeah. Get me 2 points. What have you done for me lately? And I was thinking that whole moral victory. They're getting past that. We're getting past
Short
the point
season. We
of-
have to be.
Yeah, they're right there on the cusp of being out, and I think that maybe and that is that the third line's the issue because that's where they've gotten more of the secondary scoring the last couple years from that second line or the third line because that's where the best matchups are. That's where Charlie Coyle's supposed to be able to dominate a third line center that he's up against or a fourth line when the perfection line's out there buzzing. You send the third line over to take over and take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
They need to do something. They need to figure out. I was thinking last night. What do you think? Do you move David down with David Krejci, Pasta down with Krejci, and get that pair that we've talked about, and maybe move Smith up onto that top line to find a way to get him going? Because you talk about us recognizing, not scoring goals. I'm telling you, Smith knows he's not scoring goals, and he's putting his head on the pillow at night. And you can tell that he has no confidence in that the puck's going to go in the net out there right now. He's working, but he's not. Nothing's done with any purpose.
Well, he's shooting from distance from many times just to snipe it on net or hope that it does. Listen, I couldn't agree with you more. I have been a proponent for years now, 2-3 years, this is when I think you absolutely do the Pasta and Krejci, but you can't do it for 12 minutes. Now, I know last time they did it, and I'm blanking again. I don't have my notes in front of me, my book, my sheets. I mean, when they did it, it was an injury, so then Pastrnak had to,
Krejci got hurt.
Krejci got hurt, so right. This is when you do it, and you do it for 2 or 3 games, and you build that chemistry and that scene. And yes, you move a guy like Smith up, try it up there. I mean, Marchand and Bergeron are so special. Pastrnak is unique as well, but those two guys, I think they can work it and make it happen. I'm a huge proponent of that, always have been. I think the Bruins need to go for something like that, and it's not an indictment on that top. Everybody knows it's not the top line. It's an indictment on the rest of the team that needs to get going. So, yeah, I would like for that to happen. You know what I like, speaking of, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, I thought the PK, which is tops in the league again, was excellent. There was a time early, first penalty kill, where it wasn't Bergeron and Marchand. It was split, and Bjork got some time with Marchand, and Bergeron was out there. Boy, I'll tell you what, maybe the coffee hasn't kicked in. I'm all over the place right now in the head. Sorry, I sound like this. Want to hear an old reference? You won't even know this cartoon character, Porky Pig. Do you remember?
Oh, I know Porky. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm like, that's what I feel like right now. That's all, folks. Yeah, exactly. But they split up those guys. I don't know if it was due to somebody had been on the ice or not. I don't think it was, but Butch had split them up, and they were still very effective on the PK. I liked what I've seen. I'm happy about that. Happy about the power play. Not just that they scored. In fact, I don't want to see Pasta regularly shooting from there, but yet Varlamov was going, as I said, for a swim on the first play, and then never got his footwork set. Didn't that look awkward to you?
It was really odd. I'm not sure how he got way behind a couple passes early, and I think he was just he was swimming, and I'm not. He was just he got bumped like 12 seconds before out in front, and then he was chasing. He was chasing the passes, and I think he had a bit of a speed wobble. To put a Dumb and Dumber reference in there, like on that scooter, he had a speed wobble, and David took advantage of it.
Yeah, like he felt it, and then the shot, I wasn't sure at first if it got ticked or anything at all.
It looked like it bounced off the ice.
It did, and I think that might be the stick blade of Pastrnak, how the puck comes off of it right there, and the way he shoots it more off the middle toe, and that movement. It was like a sharp, not a slider, but like a sinker ball almost.
and the way he released that, it was almost like he was going to pass it over to his left, and then he opened it up right at the last second, which caused that puck to do those odd things on the way in, which could have been what Varlamov saw as well. He could have been, again, he was chasing. He could have saw that he thought he was going to pass it, and then he's trying to hold his edge, and he goes for a switch.
I said sinker ball. I meant split finger. That's what Pasternak's puck seems to come up. It's like a split finger fastball that it's darting at you, and then there's movement. And
Rivera.
The Rivera, yes.
Yeah.
Red Sox fans won't like that one.
No, we can hit it though.
All right, so defense continues to play well. Look, I'm thrilled for a guy like Jared Tenorti continues to get an opportunity. Is this the big break for him? Maybe. I mean, just on the other hand, keep doing what you do, kid. Play to your strengths, and he's been able to do that. Another guy say for McAvoy, I thought Grzelcyk's footwork was good again. I did, very good. We showed this the quick up in the first period. You're really utilizing his skill. I like their pair of McAvoy and Grzelcyk together. I like McAvoy and Lausanne too, but I like what we're seeing from these guys. Vakanainen only 15 minutes. That's what he should be playing.
Yep.
And then Zaboro, I thought, had another good game. In the battle, longer amounts of time, especially puck battles in their own zone. Zaboro had some nice seals, releases, some picks, etc. So I was good, but I'd love to see them win. I want to talk shootouts here with you quickly. Just Beauvillier, what I liked about the Beauvillier play was the speed that he came in with. I think some guys go too slow. I know that might frustrate a goalie here and there, but I do think from a shooter's perspective, speed is so important. What would you say that you saw in that Beauvillier backhander?
Yeah, he was able to get Yarrow to commit. He made that one move that made him look like he was going to shoot, and Yarrow got so wide. He had to get so wide that he was unable to extend enough to get over to that backhand. And Beauvillier is right in the middle of the ice. Looks like he's going to shoot, which opens him up. And Yarrow didn't go down. He didn't fully commit, but he opened up wide enough to the point where you can't push. You're basically stuck. And some guys can get away with that because they're so big, but Yarrow can't. So he's giving up a little bit there to take that shot, and that's why Beauvillier could beat him to that spot. And I would have liked to have seen him have a little bit more momentum. I would have liked to have seen him have his feet a little closer together so he could extend just a little. He didn't need a whole lot more, but he didn't have enough to make that save. I loved that David Pastrnak had a strategy last night in the shootout. I think that was the first time I've seen him come in from that side, come in from his right side, come across the top, which is what we're seeing a lot of guys doing now. They're coming down their wing, coming across the hash marks. And with a guy like Pasternak's shot, that should be his play every time because we've seen it. We've talked about it. If Varlamov makes a move early like he did last night, then he's got short side. If he doesn't make a move and he holds, then David can quickly go to that blocker side, to that right side of the net. So I like that David finally had a strategy. It looked like he finally had a strategy rather than just coming in too quick. And I think he's a guy who has to go a little slower to take advantage of his shot. But
not too slow, right? I mean, not many guys can do what Patrick Kane does. How slow he can come in and the stick on there. I think that I don't know. I think
he had perfect pace last night. He didn't go too slow last night. He didn't go too slow, and but again, that felt like that's two shootouts in a row where I was feeling really good about them, and then two in a row now where I'm like, oh, they got to bury it in overtime.
Yeah. I'm trying to find that positive, though. They got a point. And now, by the way, if the Bruins win the 4 games, or at least 3 of the 4 when the Bruins take on the Islanders in Boston, you can now tolerate it. You can stomach what happened on the Island. The Islanders are a damn good team. One of the reasons we're almost wrapping up here on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, I got to tell you something. That fourth line, they call it the identity line on the Island. Damn good. And they have been. But I actually thought they played their best game of this series that the Bruins and the Islanders have played so far last night. I think, I'm going back to the forwards, and we're talking about the depth issues. I think the fourth line is, we talked about it the other day. I think it's a quandary right now because they don't have an identity. Corrali's back in after being out for 2 games. It doesn't, you have Bjork over there. It doesn't have the identity that it had.
What is it?
You brought up the point earlier about not have. Well, I don't exactly. You brought up a very good point about Nordstrom, Nola Chari not being there anymore. What is it? Do you go? Let's talk about this and then we'll wrap it up. What do you do with the lineup? And we'll start with the fourth line. I mean, are you putting DeBrus back in, and do you put him back? Do you put him on the fourth line for this game? Do you put? I don't know. Do you know? Corrali, Wagner. I mean, Wagner has not been the same. I don't know if he's battling something, Razor. I don't know. I love the kid. Love him to death. But it hasn't been that.
I'm putting McKegg back in.
On the fourth line. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you putting Corrali on left, McKegg at center, and then on right, you're going to go Wagner and do a veteran line type of thing against the Rangers? Do you put DeBrusque back in the lineup? Are you, after one game?
I think you put McKegg in. I think you take either one of Corrali. I think you keep Bjork in for his penalty killing abilities. I think you need to have that forward to take minutes off of Bergeron and Marchand. So Bjork's found his way with that penalty kill to stay in the lineup, in my opinion. I think possibly you see a guy like, maybe you give Frederick a night off. Maybe, and not because of lack of skill or anything else or lack of effort. I think maybe you put DeBrusque in on that third line. Like I said, you move Smith up onto that first line, Pastrnak down, then you bump that winger down, Studnicka down onto that third line. Maybe put him at center, Coyle on the wing. Switch that up. Maybe putting Coyle on the wing switches things up. He can just go forward and not have any defensive responsibilities.
Maybe it'll force him to shoot more too. I don't know. He had no attempts in the game, Coyle.
Too many times. That's not the first time either. That's been, they've been low. They've been low.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Morning Brew with Jeffrey and Razor after that 2-1 shootout loss to the Islanders. We got a ton of stuff we could talk about. Guys, we got a ton of content coming up with a lot of games happening every other day. We have right now a special guest lined up for Friday record. Let's hope that we hope that it happens, and we understand that things sometimes here or there happen. But it's a guy who's, well, let's just say he's played an awful lot against the Boston Bruins, or played in the past an awful lot against the Bruins, and I think you'll enjoy him an awful lot. One of the great guys in our business. But that's it for this Morning Brew. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy the warmth out there, and as always, enjoy your coffee.